You're listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast, discussing all aspects of precision and long-range rifle shooting. This episode is brought to you by Scoped Out Shooting Optics and Accessories. And now, over to your hosts.
Well, hello and welcome to the Precision Shooting Podcast. This is episode number 57. My name is Rusty, and joining me is Kirk Young from the Precision Rifle Media. How are you, Kirk?
Hey, good. Hey, I'm pretty excited to be on here. I've been doing the podcasting thing for quite a while, and I think this is the first time I've ever been interviewed.
This is the first time on the other end, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess you're going to get a taste of what all your guests go through. So, Kirk, tell us a little bit, I guess, a bit about your podcast. Well, that's obviously only one part of what you do.
Yeah. So the show, I started Precision Rifle. The Precision Rifle Podcast, I started that way back in like 2013.
Yeah,
I think actually, yeah. And that was all going good. I was, everything was cool. Had about 100 shows there, and then ended up branching out and starting my own deal. And so that's where Precision Rifle Media came from.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing that now for close to a year from Precision Rifle Media. Got started, I'd been shooting long range, and I had a lot of questions. I was very new, and in the scheme of things, I still am very new compared to a lot of other people out there.
Sure.
But I figured if I had questions, there's probably other people that do, and if I was going to call and get some answers, I might as well just try and record them. And get it out to everybody else that so they could hear and maybe learn as well. And that's kind of where it started, and then it's just kind of rolled into what it is now.
and so that's obviously that was a motivation for getting underway. And how did you approach the first few episodes?
Oh man, it was shaky. I had a borrowed. I had my old Sony laptop, and I borrowed some recording gear. It was like a little mixer and an analog mic and everything, and had to run it through another thing to hook it into the computer. And and I just did a couple to see what would happen, and I had some people listening and people liking it, and it just kind of turned into what it is now. And then the kind of what I go for is. I try to interview people, industry leaders, people who are building cool stuff that I want to hear about, people that are running cool matches, and just try to help get as much information for myself, and then share that with everybody else at the same time. That's kind of the goal.
And how have you found it? If it has been easy to approach people, or has it been a bit harder to get the interviews?
That was a little difficult at first. It's gotten a lot easier, especially after people have been on once or twice.
Yeah, sure.
And they kind of get the gist, they learn, or figure out Skype or whatever, and they kind of, oh yeah, I can make time for that, no problem. At first it was kind of shaky sometimes, especially some of the busier people or whatever. But I'll tell you, it's never been all that hard to keep interviews scheduled. It's just some people were more interested than others in the beginning. Yeah,
and I certainly noticed that about your shows, is that it's not uncommon to have a guest on several times over the course of a few years, which really helps build that conversation with them.
Definitely, and the thing is like if you I haven't had Brian Litz on in a while, but I've had him on 3-4 times total, including the old show and the new one.
Yep.
And it's kind of nice if you follow him all, you can kind of keep an eye on what he's been up to. You can kind of follow along with all of his projects and stuff. Same with the Nick Vitalbo with Envisti, and which I'm working on getting him back in. He's a busy dude, so
he is a busy guy. We had him on only a few weeks ago, and real good bloke to speak with.
Yeah, he's awesome. Does a lot of the laser rangefinder stuff, but you can just kind of, it's nice to have him on more than once just to kind of follow what those guys are doing, especially guys like that, because their projects are always changing and they're always working on something different.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously now that you've got a fair reputation for, it'd be the biggest precision rifle type podcast in the world, wouldn't it? Wouldn't be anything else getting the listenership that you're on.
Yeah, I'm not real sure. I mean, I guess
I can't think of anything. So.
Yeah, I think it's maybe just by default. There's just not much. It's my show and your show.
Yeah, I think. But the good thing about that is that obviously now, if you're going to approach someone, they're much more inclined to say yes. So what that gives you is access to some really good names to interview, which you've done. It's been wonderful to hear.
Yeah, great. That's and I love hearing the feedback too. It's kind of weird. I don't know how it is for you guys, but I'll go through, where I'll get, a whole bunch of emails in a month, and then I won't get any emails, like listener emails, for 2 months.
Yep.
So sometimes you're like, okay, things are going good, and then you won't get anything for a while, and you'll be, I don't know.
Am I still doing this, or should I keep going?
Yeah,
sure. So, I'm interested, Kirk, in how you got into shooting initially, and then obviously following down into this long range path. Where did that come from for you?
Oh yeah, so I guess getting into shooting, I was just a little kid. My grandpa would take me out. He had a Ruger 10/22 and an old Remington of some sort, and that bolt action Remington single shot was what I spent most of my youth shooting.
Mm-hmm.
He had used it for years. It was pretty beat up. I mean, I don't know how he broke the bolt off it, but he did. He welded it back on with a stick welder, and himself, back before you'd pay somebody to do that, Man, that gun, I love that gun though. And graduated from that to the 10/22 because that was semi-automatic, I had to graduate up to that one.
Yeah, I was still waiting for that here.
Yeah, oh yeah. So then I went from there to shotguns I was a big duck hunter and a pheasant hunter, and even deer back home was shotgun only. So, I mean, I only shot shotguns, and, I was on trap teams and sporting clays and stuff like that.
Yeah, wow.
That's about all I did from probably when I was 14, 15. I used to my mom would drop me off to work at the clubhouse, and then we'd pull trap for just enough money to pay for shells and around a trap. And then, I don't know. And then one of the guys that was on my trap team, his cousin was a big, started out with World War II rifles. He was a big collector. Mm-hmm. And so me and him got together and started shooting. And then we kind of were, 1903 Springfields and K-31s and, the Mosin Nagants and stuff like that. And we just started trying to shoot as far as we could with iron sights, and, 300-400 yards, I think we probably got to. And then we started getting scopes and nicer rifles, and it just kind of all blew up from there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, excellent. That's where it's all come from, and you've been into some PRS stuff as well.
Yeah, definitely. We were shooting, and we were shooting from the benches, and the range I was at didn't allow a lot of steel at the time, and they're starting to get a little bit better about that now.
Yep.
But did that, and then it got to where you can shoot paper at the same distances, all day, every day, and don't get me wrong, it's a good time. But I got to a point where I just wanted to kind of see where I matched up with other people and get out there and meet some other people, and it just looked like fun. So I got involved with it, and turns out I'm usually like lower end of the pack, but I have just as much fun as everybody else.
Well, that's really what it's all about, isn't it? It's about enjoying yourself.
Sure.
Yeah, we had our first official PRS match here only a few weeks ago now. Not even 2 weeks ago from the time I'm recording this, and I think that's the big thing a lot of guys took away from it. It's good fun. You get to meet a stack of people, and the shooting's really good fun, but it's almost secondary to the good time you have.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you could have the worst day of shooting out there and still be able to be around the people and enjoy your time out there. That's the best thing about it. Anybody who hasn't gone out and shot competitively, don't be scared to do it, because it is some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. I've had people offer to loan me rifles and stuff to, go to some of these matches where you got to fly, I got a rifle, just ship ammo down here. It's like, and you're talking like somebody you've never met before, and they're willing to let you borrow like a $3,000 scope on a $5,000 rifle, and that's not even unheard of,
Absolutely, it's good. It's good community, and it's we're seeing that same thing over here, and I certainly saw that when we were in the US. There's that real attitude of looking after everyone, which is great.
Yeah, definitely. There's I don't know how many times I've been at matches and somebody's rifle will go down and somebody's got a spare, and they just, here you go, rifle, ammo, don't worry about it.
Yeah, get underway and shoot, enjoy it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good. And so you've got a couple of other guys, at least one involved with what you're doing, Precision Rifle Media wise. Who's the other voice or names we see on some of the articles?
Yeah, so Garrett G would be, he's my buddy back home. I met him. He started Wisconsin Precision Rifle Shooters Facebook group back when I lived in Wisconsin, and I liked what he was doing with that. So I had approached him and kind of, hey, let's get together and do some shooting, and we did, and it just kind of hit it off. I was like, hey man, I kind of do this podcast and stuff. If you want to help out, and he did, and he's been a huge help. He's wrote some articles, done some reviews. He comes on the show, and we go over matches and stuff. Every PRS match I shot with him.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
And then, so that's Garrett. Then there's Justin Wilhite. He is actually a friend of a friend, and it's kind of funny. I'm actually going to be meeting him for the first time next weekend.
Oh, really?
Face to face. Yeah, I've never actually met him face to face. But he's got a ranch, just family ranch down in Colorado there, and he just does a bunch of shooting. Real passionate guy. Like I said, friend of a friend I met at a PRS match.
Yep.
And I don't even know how we really started talking, but then he used to do some writing and kind of was like, hey man, I used to do some writing back in college, really enjoy it. If you want me to do some stuff, let me know.
Yeah, nice.
So we just kind of hit it off that way, and he's wrote some articles. He writes some really awesome articles, and he actually does some work for Bison Tactical as well.
Okay. Yep.
Who is one of my sponsors on my show.
Yeah, you better give him a shout out.
Yeah, and so we're going to be down there next weekend getting ready for the King of 2 Mile event, that starts that week. So
tell us about that, because I know you guys are shooting that.
Yeah, well, and I'm going to kind of mention Garrett Fravet quick, who he's not quite as involved with the podcast, but he does a lot of work on our rifles and stuff. And he's the guy that I'm going to be doing the King of 2 Mile shooting event with, and the World's 50 Caliber Championship with.
Right. Yep.
He's been part of the FCSA, which is the 50 Cal Shooters Association, for I think like 10, 15 years or something like that.
We have a branch of that over here in Australia.
I'll tell you, what a great organization though. The 50 Cal Shooters, just a bunch of great people. The match, it's the King of 2 Mile event, so I'd be lying if I really tried to tell you the rules. My understanding is the targets will start somewhere around 15 to 1,800 yards away. Mm-hmm. You get 5 rounds to hit it, and if you hit it, you get to move on to the next target. And I believe the scores, just like a regular match, a first round hit's worth like way more than a 5th round hit.
Yep.
And if you don't hit the target, you don't move on.
Okay.
I believe. I'm pretty sure. That's how it worked last year.
Yeah, sure. And you're out for the match.
Right. And last year, nobody hit the 2 mile target. So it'll be interesting this year. I know that. Okay, so yeah, back to Garrett quick, I guess. He's been a buddy of mine for a long time, and he's an engineer and a machinist, and he does some work on our rifles, and he kind of got a hold of me and was like, hey man, doing this 50 cal thing, you want to be a part of it? And I was like, that sounds awesome, let's do it. And that's kind of how we got into that. He's been shooting.
Nice.
That's pretty much how it happened. I mean, that was all there was to it. And like I said, he builds a lot of cool stuff. He's got a Facebook page, Beards and Bullets, where he just kind of, and it's kind of a cool page because he's not actually a business. He doesn't actually not actually a gunsmith or anything, but he just builds a lot of cool stuff, and you can keep up with it there. He built his own anodizing setup in his garage.
Wow.
And anodized all of the aluminum parts that he machined himself for the bipod he built, for the 50 he built. So
yeah, right. Nice.
It's kind of cool to follow that and just see what he's up to, just to see what a guy can do in his garage. You think you can't build cool stuff unless you got like a real hot setup. He's got an old lathe and an old mill, and he builds some pretty cool stuff. So,
yeah, brilliant.
So back to the 2 mile shoot. Like I was saying, the 2 mile target didn't get hit last year, but I know this year Mitchell Fitzpatrick with Applied Ballistics and Lethal Precision Arms, he owns that company. Mm-hmm. I know that they were putting some pretty good hits on at 2 miles, first round impacts and stuff down in Texas. I believe it was Texas with Chase Stroud. So there's going to be some pretty stiff competition this year. I think last year everybody was kind of getting the feel for it, and then they had a year to really put some stuff together and get ready for this year. So I think it's going to be real interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I've certainly seen a lot of practice and a lot of videos going on. It looks like they're upping the game a fair bit this year. I know there's a few guys going over from Australia, and it looks to be a really good event.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm gonna try and grab a bunch of guys there and get them for like kind of a roundtable discussion kind of a thing.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I'm hoping to make that happen. So I'll keep you in the loop for that. I think it's going to be pretty interesting because, I am going to this match. I am participating in it. I'm participating in the world's 50 caliber championship as well. It's the same week or whatever. So. If you're going to go all the way down there, you might as well do as much shooting as you can, right?
Absolutely, especially when you run the risk of your first target not hitting, and it could be a quiet weekend for people going.
Yeah, right. So Garrett is he's on the leading edge of this project that we got going on. So it's going to be real interesting to hear his input. I'm hoping to maybe record me and him driving down there. We're going to have about 8 hours to drive down there, so just to hear about what he's got going on.
Yeah,
I mean, when I talk about him leading this, I mean, he designed the guns, he built the guns, he designed the bullets, he's got a guy building the bullets for us, everything. He's putting a lot of work into this. I think if anybody's got a shot at this thing, it's going to be Garrett. He's right into it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's cool, and it's cool to be able to do it from that point of really sort of developing stuff for it, rather than just sort of putting something together from what's available and then having a crack. He's really taking it quite seriously and pushing boundaries, which is what you need to do to be able to do that.
Oh, definitely, yeah. We're using the Ivy mounts even to. Are you familiar with those at all?
I am. Yeah, I'd love to get my hands on one actually.
Yeah, they're pretty crazy. They're. So anybody who's not familiar, there's not enough travel in the scopes to get out to 2 miles. So we use an Ivy mount, and you actually dial the mount itself up and it's like a canted rail kind of, but it's adjustable, and the whole scope itself will pick up, and you can get another, I think, 180 minutes of elevation.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Have you seen those? Oh, sorry. Continue on. You were telling us what's in there.
Oh man, that's about all I really know this far. I'd love to tell you more. But it's all kind of, I think, under wraps till we we make it happen. I think is kind of the plan. So.
And what weekend is that?
It's not this weekend, but we drive down there the weekend after. So it's the week before the 4th of July.
Yeah. Okay. So kicking off somewhere around the 24th or thereabouts. So late June. Yeah. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, which I guess you guys probably don't celebrate 4th of July down there, huh?
No, it'll be a Tuesday.
Yeah, it'll be
do our normal Tuesday things. But yeah, obviously,
if you want to light some fireworks off, man.
Oh yeah, if we could get them, we'd be fine. We'd be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, obviously a big one there. Does it end on is 4th of July a big celebration at the end of the comp, or is it separate?
No, I think the World's 50 Cal Championship ends that Sunday.
Oh, okay. Yep.
and then I'll fly back the 3rd, which is Monday. I'm driving down and then shooting, and then I'm flying home.
Yep.
And
yeah,
then I'll have the 4th of July and then back to work.
Yeah, I thought they might have done the event where they finish up the day before and then all have a big 4th of July together, but perhaps not. Perhaps not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it'd be kind of a cool thing to do. I mean, for me, it'll be just nice to get home. Like I said, I'm down in Georgia right now, so I'm a ways away from home, and then I'll be home for a week and leaving.
Yep.
For 11 days. So.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. We've done a reasonable amount of travel recently, and got a couple of months at home, and then we're off to a match and a gun show throughout August. So I'll be getting around the country again then.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you got some serious country to travel in that neck of the woods, man.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily that much bigger than where you are. It's just a lot less populated, so there's some bigger gaps between major towns.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. I'm about 1,200 miles from home right now. So.
Yep. Yeah, it's where's home for you? Where's
Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Actually, I live just a little bit south in a town called Harrisburg, but.
Yeah, okay. I don't really know where that is. My geography for the US is improved since I went there last year, but it's far from perfect.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the United States that don't know where South Dakota is, so it's all right.
I'll take that as a win then. That's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
So it's like, I don't know, almost the top of Texas.
Okay.
It's like, okay, in the bottom of Canada.
Yep.
It's kind of in the middle there.
Right. Most things are. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, brilliant. And so, the last time we spoke, which was actually on your podcast, talking about the PRS in Australia, you said that you were about to head off for a PRS match. Now, is that that was? I did just see which match that was. You want to tell us?
It was the South Dakota Steel Classic.
That's the one.
Presented by Precision Reloading and put on by Michael Kane and Cody Kinsley.
Yep. And how'd it go?
Man, so
that was
another. Hey? Yeah, that was another one that was interesting for me. I didn't get out to do as much shooting as I would have liked. I wanted to have my rifle rebarreled, and none of it's anybody's fault but my own, I guess. But my barrel showed up about, I think, the day before the match. So.
Oh wow.
What happened there? I loaded up a bunch of ammo when I went out there, and so the last time I had brought that rifle out to shoot groups, I couldn't get it to shoot any better than about 1.5 inches at 100 yards.
Oh, okay.
It's a 6.5 Creedmoor. I'm shooting 140 burgers at 2,800, and it's a 22-inch barrel, by the way. So it's okay. It's pretty hot for what it is, and just I don't know, didn't pan out. So I didn't get to get out and zero the rifle. I didn't get a chance to do any of the shooting I wanted to do. Busy. I was actually traveling for work again back then for some training, and got out to the match, and I'll tell you, I don't know what I was thinking, but my first stage, I think I hit about 30%. So I think I hit like 2 or 3 of the first 5 targets. Mm-hmm. The second stage was spinners stage, so you spin the spinners and stuff.
Yep.
And I cleared it. I shot that stage extremely well. It was very close, though. I think the farthest shot was like 240 yards or something.
Okay. Yep.
And so I knew the rifle wasn't on, right? It wasn't zeroed. So the next stage was one of those like Atlas B&T Industries. They'll do playing cards. With, the ace of spades and so the closest zero usually wins an Atlas bipod.
Yep.
Man, I was like 2 inches low and 2 inches right. So now I'm all psyching myself out. I'm like, oh man. So what do? I grab some tools out of my bag and I start taking my scope apart.
Oh no.
Yeah, I go. I do the math. I figure it out. I go 2 inches up and 2 inches left, and
yeah.
Go back to shooting, and I don't hit anything for the next 4 stages probably. So then I take everything back out of the gun, and so now at this point I'm like, I kind of know where I am, but I don't really know where I am. And then I started doing a little bit better, and by the end of the day I had the rifle figured out, and day 2 went much better for me. But it's a little late in the game, so when you zero for like 5 stages in a row, there's no coming back.
No, it's hard enough to come back from 1, let alone 5.
Exactly.
But had a good time though.
Oh, definitely. It's always great to get out to that match and see a bunch of the people that I don't get to see very often. Just the shooting community. You get to doing it, and you got friends all over the country. But you don't ever get to see them. And then except for at these matches usually. So you get out there and you see some old friends you don't get to see very often, and hang out and do some shooting, and so.
Yeah, brilliant. And that's your closest match, I'm guessing. That's your sort of your local.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like I think it's like a 3-hour drive from my house.
Yeah, okay, it's pretty good
then. Yeah.
Yeah, and will you get to some other PRS matches, or do you sort of do 1 or 2 a year, or?
Yeah, so normally I do a bunch of small matches, and then I'll do like 1 or 2 PRS matches. I wanted to try and hit the Oklahoma National Rifle League match this year, but I don't think that's going to happen either. Just between, like I said, I got the new job, so I've been busy traveling for work, training, and not having a lot of vacation. And then I got my first kid on the way.
Yeah.
And so that's going to slow things. Thank you. So that's going to slow down the shooting, but that's all right. So just been getting ready for that a lot too. So that's going to take up some of the time that I would have normally been shooting. But
absolutely, but well worthwhile.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, cool. When's that all happening?
December 24th is the due date we have right now.
Okay, so right, busy Christmas period.
So tell me about it. It's going to be a busy. It's going to be a busy year till for the next couple of years.
Well, I was going to say for a little while, for the next 20 years or so, it's going to be.
yeah, exactly.
Pretty full on.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool though, man. It's a whole new experience. So. Yeah.
I guess we'll get some sort of updates over the course of the podcast coming up, no doubt.
Yeah. Definitely.
And hopefully a new face in a couple of years on the podcast.
New